So Ryan, why are you wearing frost cloth?
Judy, it's fall. It's starting to get cold out.
Oh, I have something to warm you up. A new episode of Garden Time. Welcome to Garden Time. And for some of our viewers, you've already had frost, but for here in the valley, it hasn't happened yet.
But it is coming, so we'll want to watch those low temperatures and protect our fruits, our flowers, and our vegetables.
Coming up in the show today, we'll show you some citrus plants at Sugala Nursery.
We'll also be dividing a couple perennials.
But coming up first, some fall color plants at Garland Nursery. I think this time of year you can't talk too much about fall color. I'm with Patrick at Garland Nursery, and Patrick, this is an astounding display of red you want to focus on.
Yeah, I thought we'd talk a little bit about red today. It's my favorite for the fall colors, of course, and a lot of people see yellow in the landscape. A lot of the natives go yellow just naturally, but I think the reds pop, and that's what people are often thinking about when they're talking fall colors. So we got some fantastic options over in this area. We'll go through them all and hopefully cover what you guys need to hear. So first one I'm standing next to is actually a shrub. It is Sweet Spire is the common name. Itea is the Latin name. Its variety right here is called Scentlandia. It's a new variety within the last 2 or 3 years. Usually we'd been selling Little Henry. This variety gets a little bit taller, and it handles full sun. It actually handles some pretty heavy shade, believe it or not, although the colors won't be like what you're seeing here. It handles wet soil rather well, not standing water, but wet soil, and it handles the heavy clay just fine. It blooms early in the spring, going into summer, little fragrant, mildly fragrant white flowers that kind of dangle off. And it'll be beautiful until November, December with its leaves.
And then what is this one? Amazing.
Yeah, so this is an oak leaf hydrangea. It's one of the few hydrangeas that gets really nice fall color. Most of them get yellows, but this is a beautiful maroon reddish color. It also can handle full sun, which a lot of the hydrangeas don't want full sun. Granted, it will still need good water to get it through the hot summer months, but hot sun is no problem. It gets beautiful blooms. They kind of come off the tip, little big plumes. They're white. They kind of fade a little bit to a creamy color by the end of the season, but outstanding bark as it matures. It peels off, and it's that 4th season interest.
Wonderful. And then maybe a small tree over there?
Yeah, back here we have a Stewartia, which is a beautiful 4-season interest tree right now. It's got really nice fall color. You can see some of the green leaves from earlier in the season. It has a peeling bark that in the winter gets better with age. It starts to slough off, and it'll leave a cinnamon brownish coloring underneath it, really smooth, and then it gets beautiful camellia-like flowers that are about 2 inches in the summer, late spring, early summer months. One of my favorites. I'd say it grows about 1 foot a year in the ground, so it generally doesn't outgrow its space. Most of the time 15 to 20 feet in about 15 years. So
excellent.
Perfect tree for most backyards, a little narrow in habit. So.
And look at this one. This is a Tupelo. Beautiful.
One of my favorites, and it's very underused in our area. It's a southern tree. It grows, this variety is called gumdrop. It grows to about 30 feet tall, 20 feet wide. It's got the name gumdrop because of the shape, where a lot of the other tupelos will be taller. This one is kind of condensed, so it looks more like a gumdrop. Outstanding fall color. They handle the heavy wet clay just like red maples would handle, and so I find it a great substitute for the overused red maple that people run into. Most of them will be about 40 feet tall in the long run.
Nice. And then crepe myrtle, because sometimes we just think about the flowers, but look at this fall color.
This is a beautiful option for most people. Many crepe myrtles will hit the 20-foot mark, but there are some that stay under. There are some that grow about 5 to 8 feet, and then some in that 8 to 15 foot range, and then there's the tree size ones that'll get up to 20 feet. This variety is called Acoma. It has a beautiful white bloom, while many of the others have pinks and purples. This one also has a much more arching habit than a lot of the other ones, so this one will be kind of an equal canopy, 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and probably 12 years or so.
Nice. And then what about these two back here?
Yeah, so this is one of my favorites. It's the American smoke tree, Cotinus obovatus, and it'll grow a little taller than this one down here. This one is called Grace. Grace will grow about 15 to 20 feet, where the American smoke tree will grow up to 25 feet, I would say. The fall color on both is amazing. Right now you don't see it on Grace so much because it's a little less stressed. That plant probably had more fertilizer and got a little more water, and as you can see, this one is a big tree in a small pot, so it got stressed earlier on in the season.
It needs to go to a good home.
It does need to go to a good home, and in the ground would be the best spot for it.
And then what about these two pretty quick?
So yeah, my favorites are witch hazel and Fathergia. The witch hazel is going to be a small shrub or a small tree, 15 foot tall and wide, a beautiful vase-shaped canopy. Reminds me of a Japanese maple, but it blooms in the late winter months. It'll bloom yellow flowers on this particular variety called Arnold Promise, but there's some others. Diane is a red flowering variety, and Helena has got a really interesting orangey coppery color to it. Outstanding fall colors. Although this one's lost a lot of its leaves, you can see it would have had all of those shades on one plant. And this one is a Fathergia called Blue Shadow. It's a newer introduction, and I think it's outstanding. The fall color is unrivaled by most shrubs. It'll get probably 5 to 6 feet tall in 10 years approximately, and has beautiful little bottle brush flowers in the springtime, and just an underutilized plant also.
Wow, and I heard all of these are his favorites, so when you come down to Garland Nursery, you have to see all of Patrick's favorites. And this is just a small selection of what they have down here. So please go to gardentime.tv and we'll click you over to the Garland website, and you can come out and see Patrick and all these beautiful plants. Patrick, thanks so much. It's astounding.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for being here.
We always tell you that fall is a great time to plant plants, but it's also a great time to divide plants. So you want to look for plants that maybe are overgrown, or you want them in another part of your garden, or you just want to kind of rejuvenate the health of the plant. This heuchera is looking just a little bit sad, and so we're thinking it's just a little too congested here. So the first thing you do is you look for irrigation. So we found our soaker hose, it's right over there, but look for any kind of irrigation lines because you don't want to go through them. So we were careful when we took our spade and we kind of loosened this up right around this root ball. And I'm just going to kind of finish going around with this hori-hori knife, and I'm going to just take a big chunk out. And it's best to do big chunks because you want a really nice viable plant to plant somewhere else. And look at all those nice roots. With heucheras too, sometimes they get very stemmy or very woody and they become little trees. So when you go to replant this, you can actually plant it deeper, just like a tomato, and it'll put out lateral roots, and you'll have this brand new plant that'll push really nice foliage. So you might want to amend that soil. You want to do divisions on a cloudy day, because if it's too sunny, you're going to kind of damage the roots, these fine root hairs that you want to keep as healthy as possible. And just kind of replant like you would any other plant, and you have it to go in another part of your garden or share with a friend. Ryan's in another part of this garden, and he's going to be dividing another plant.
Now, as we are evaluating which perennials to divide, we noticed that this helenium, it came up and did all of its blooming this summer, but then it kind of died out in the middle in here. It kind of flopped over and got big. So this is a good candidate, to do some divisions. We can already see, this is the old growth from the summer, and it's already starting to rejuvenate around the plant. So this one, died out in the middle, but we can tell that this is a good plant to divide out and spread. And so what we can do is we can go through, we'll kind of chop off all these old bloom stalks from the summer. We can kind of get rid of those to kind of reduce the amount that needs to get, trimmed off. And then this is a good choice for doing that. So we'll go through with our little hori-hori knife. We can kind of just chop around here, and we'll just kind of lift this whole chunk out. So we can see that, the roots are all in here. And so now we have this full, chunk of helenium that we can, divide out. We can put elsewhere in the yard, or we can, share it with our friends and neighbors. And so what this would do, if we wanted to, we could divide this in half and create two more, or we can just leave this one clump. So now's a good time to do this because our soil temperatures are still nice and warm from the summer. So by getting this planted elsewhere in the yard or dividing it on these cool days and there's rain coming up in the forecast, we can plant it, water it in real well, and it's going to get established now, so come next spring we'll get a lot new growth and lots more blooms. You know, so there's hundreds of perennials out there. So the University of Minnesota has a great list that talks about all the different perennials and when a good time to divide those is. And we'll give you that link here on the website. So, you know, dividing your perennials now for in the fall for spring, that's a good thing.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Is your garden in need of refreshment? Hi, I'm Sarah, and there are plenty of things in bloom at Portland Nursery. Come check out our beautiful fall color to perk up your garden. At Portland Nursery, we consider fall the second season, and the gardening opportunities are endless. Establish next year's trees, replace lettuce and greens, or get a jump on onions and garlic. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people, on 50th and Stark and 90th and Division, or at portlandnursery.com.
Every year, trees fall or break, causing property damage, power outages, and injury.
Now is the time for Bartlett Tree Experts and COLLIER Arbor Care to get your trees ready for the extreme conditions ahead.
Our free consultation will help to spot the signs of potentially hazardous trees.
We can help address problems before they occur. Whether it's trees or shrubs, we can help you get a healthy and beautiful garden.
COLLIER Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts, providing environmentally safe tree care since 1907.
Don't let the cold and wet get you this winter. Warm up to a season of heat with Grimm's Fuel. Grimm's has plenty of wood and heating oil ready to deliver to keep you warm all winter long. Stay warm and cozy with Grimm's Fuel.
We all love just a little bit of a tropical feel to our gardens and to our homes. So I'm at Tsugawa Nursery today with Carlene, and Carlene, these are tropical, but really tropical that we can have and be successful.
Yes, absolutely. It's citrus. We can grow citrus here. Although you can't plant it in the ground outside, we want to take it in for those frosty months because it won't survive if we don't. But I think they're a lot hardier than most people realize. So I have a kumquat tree at home that I keep outside nearly year round. So I pay attention to the forecast. When I see a frost coming, I'll pull that citrus inside so it doesn't get frosty. And really, it's only about 2 or 3 months of the year that we really need to keep our eye peeled for that frost and make sure those plants are taken care of.
That is so cool. And so all of these too can be that same kind of care?
Yes, they can. Put them in a pot. You can have fresh citrus. What a lot of people don't know though, I think when people plant fruit trees, they think, oh, I'm going to plant it in the spring, it's going to ripen over the summer, and I'm going to harvest in, you know, September or October. That's not the case with citrus. So they bloom late in the year. As you can tell right here, we're in October and it's just starting to bloom now. This fruit will take hold and then come ripe about January, February.
Wow.
So that's the time that we want to be harvesting our citrus, and a lot of people don't know that.
Right, right. And so what kind of varieties do you have right now?
So we have a bunch of Meyer lemon. We've gone through quite a bit of citrus this year, so we don't have any limes. But we have this really fantastic one here that's a combination of a Meyer lemon and a lime. So you can grow one plant in one container and harvest the benefits of both types of trees.
Wow. And use them both for recipes, because we both love them. You know, we love them in any kind of recipes.
Yes.
And then there's some other cool ones that you're going to be getting just in a couple days.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to bring in a variegated kumquat, which I'm really excited about. We also have a lime coming in, but it's a red lime. So the outside fruit, the peel, is beautiful red. When you cut it open, it's almost like a blood orange, but it's a lime.
Wow.
Yeah, so a little bit of variation, a little something different for your patio, and everyone's gonna ask, what is that?
Definitely. And so during the winter, we can just leave them like on our patio or our deck, and then just be careful of cold nights.
Yes, cold nights. So like I said, I pay attention to the forecast. If there's a freeze predicted, then I'll bring it in. But leave it out as long as you can, because it really does need that cold to do well and have great fruit development.
Well, they're so fragrant right now.
Yes.
It's really lovely. We enjoy fragrance. We enjoy even baking or making cocktails with citrus, so that's kind of fun. So please go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to the Sugawa website. Come up and see all of the citrus that you can have at your home this fall and winter. Thanks so much, Carlene.
Thank you, Judy.
Well, our tip of the week this week is how to protect our harvest for another couple weeks. You know, we're late October now, and the temperatures are starting to drop. We're getting down into the mid and low 30s coming up. So that will kind of wipe out our gardens, but we can extend that a little bit by using a frost cloth. And so this is kind of a nice lightweight cloth. You can pick this up at most independent garden centers or home stores. And what we'll do is when those evening temperatures are starting to drop down, we'll drape this over our crops and it'll act like a little blanket. So if you don't have the frost cloth, you can also use like a sheet or something like that. And what that does is just kind of protects it from the frost settling on there. So you can put this on in the evenings when the temperatures are starting to drop down, and then pull it back off during the day. And that will extend our crops and get a harvest just for a couple more weeks. So that's our tip of the week, is using frost cloth to extend our harvest for a couple weeks.
At Blooming Junction, fall isn't about winding down, it's about getting ready. In the garden, start the next season off right now. Fall plantings produce healthier, more robust, and drought-tolerant plants than those planted in spring or summer. In the kitchen, get ready for the holidays with fresh, organically grown produce from our fields. So, whether it's for the garden or for the kitchen this season, Blooming Junction is your place for quality, uncommon plants and produce for your home and garden.
Create a beautiful living space both inside and out with the help of Terra Casa.
Outside, you'll find pottery, fountains, and decor to make your garden unforgettable.
And inside, there are home furnishings and just the right accents to make your home warm, inviting, and most importantly, comfortable.
Terra Casa has a huge selection of merchandise to fit any home or budget. Plus, we still have all the unique and distinctive gifts that you have come to expect from Terra Casa.
Terra Casa in downtown Damascus.
Well, I'm out here at Keddy Farms. I'm with Amanda from Soul Seeds. And Amanda, you do some amazing things with dried flowers.
Thank you.
And so, you know, we're looking around the table and there's things that, you know, you don't typically see for drying. So where do you get your inspiration for what you're doing, and what do you do with all these flowers?
Well, about a year ago, I started collecting blooms from either my garden or my neighbors or friends, and just started experimenting with drying them in my garage. So all of this has come from my kind of workshop that I've got out that I kind of tinker with. I dry some things flat, I try hanging things, and I've really started working with things that maybe people don't typically think would go in a dried arrangement.
Right, because you look at your tables, I mean, like hibiscus and you know, clematis blooms and things like that you would never think to use, you know, as a dried flower.
Right.
And then, you know, as people are in their yards and, you know, they cut back a lot of their things and it goes in the yard debris.
Right.
Is that kind of where you're?
Definitely. I am a yard debris dumpster diver, in fact. I drive around my neighborhood and I'm like, ooh, I gotta grab that before that goes away. So I like to catch things right before they're done for outside, right? And then I bring them in, and it's really cool to extend the life and see that they continue to change. There's a lot of life left in things long past when we typically think it's kind of done being beautiful.
Right, so you enjoy them in your yard while you have them, and then it adds an extended life to it.
Exactly, especially as it gets gray and soggy and rotting outside, you can kind of bring in this preserved memory of what will eventually come back again in the spring.
You know, so for the homeowner that's looking in your yard, what should they be looking for when they want to dry their flowers?
Well, I really like to catch things right when they're done being outside. So roses especially, it's almost great to kind of feel they need to be a little firm still and not ready to lose their petals right away. Right. It's kind of about catching it right in that sweet spot of when it'll hang on to all of its parts.
Okay, so it'll fully open up, but
before it's it's kind of like watching for zucchini, right? Like you just want to you got to harvest it right at the right time, and then you bring it in. And usually I hang most roses, things like that, upside down, so that they then they hang on to themselves.
And then you do it in like a dark setting?
I'm just in my garage, so there's plenty of light out there, but no direct sunlight.
You know, so now that you have all of your flowers dried, you know, what's kind of the next process of where do we go from there?
Well, the other thing I harvest are things to make my wreath bases with. So this was a bunch of mint that I cut back from my yard. This was some beets that I got from a neighbor. This has rosemary and fuchsia. So I kind of make whatever it is that I'm cutting back, I can create a wreath base out of. And then I come through this little flower bar that I have here, and I pick a few blooms at a time. I usually start with the greens that I have dried, and then I just start tucking things in. And the beauty of these organic bases like this is that it's just ready to hang on to whatever it is that you tuck in. And it's really, really simple. You can take things out and move them around. Nothing needs to be glued. It's all tied together with twine. The entire thing is plant-based. So
now you have a class that's coming up out there at Keddie Farm. So.
I do. On Saturday, October 31st, we'll be everyone will receive a base like this. And the flower bar will probably be about twice this size that day, with you get to choose whatever it is that speaks to you. And I will be here to help you tuck things in, but it really is fun and easy and great for everybody.
You know, so people can get on to, the Keddie Farm's website, and they can register for this class, and they can come out and just, you'll walk them through it, and then people can just use their creative juices on what to do with all this, things out of the garden. So, Amanda, it's been great being out here. We look forward to seeing the class and what amazing things you can do with just everything out of your yard.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Great. And how much cargo room does it have?
Tons. Basically, all of that stuff will fit right here.
Even this guy?
Definitely.
I love it. What's next?
Well, financing can be done online, and if you're ready to test drive, we can bring it to you.
Wow. No wonder everyone told me to go to Capital Subaru. Thanks, Shelby.
You ready to get back on the road again?
Definitely. 2020 isn't canceled. It just looks different. Shop online, by phone, or in person. Your way at Capital Subaru.
Located in the heart of Willamette Valley's hops, hazelnut, and wine country, Keddie Farms is a beautiful option for your upcoming wedding or event. Enjoy the diverse venue the over 40-acre farm offers, with manicured gardens, a private forest and spacious meadow, chef's kitchen, and covered patios. All just 5 minutes off of I-5 in Aurora, Oregon. Keddie Farms, now booking upcoming events.
Don't let the cold and wet get you this winter. Warm up to a season of heat with Grimm's Fuel. Grimm's has plenty of wood and heating oil ready to deliver to keep you warm all winter long. Stay warm and cozy with Grimm's Fuel.
I'm out at Grimm Fuel Company with Jeff Grimm, and Jeff, I see you guys are blowing out some compost for the fall, and so why is it such a good time to do that?
Oh, it's a good idea to put the mulch out this time of year to help protect the plants and the root systems from the winters that is right around the corner. We're liable to get some cold temperatures, and those a layer of mulch will help keep those things warm and keep the plants from getting damaged. Also, this time of year with all the rains that we're starting to have finally, helps with the erosion control. The rain comes down and hits soil, and if you don't have something on there, the rain impacts the soil and it starts washing it away. If you have a layer of compost down there, it helps protect that soil and keep it from eroding.
Yeah, you know, also you do get so much compaction. It's nice to have it down there to get some extra, extra soil there.
That's true, and the macronutrients that are in the compost that we're blowing, we're installing garden mulch compost. It's a all organic compost made from the stuff that comes into our yard debris recycling center today. So it's loaded with macro and micronutrients, and that will help as the rains leach down through that. Some of those micronutrients will leach into the soil and be absorbed by the plants and help feed the plants throughout the winter, and then into the spring give them a head start. We can also install other products like the traditional bark dusts and stuff like that also.
Yeah, you really have a big array of different kind of mulches and bark mulches to put down. So really coming out and you have the samples there that you can see all the different kind of supplies.
Yeah, we have the hemlocks that are sliver free. You can get those in a reddish brown color that's kind of traditional, or the dark brown shades. Also the fir bark dust, which is a little more budget conscious. It's a little less expensive than the hemlocks. And all those things will give the same benefits with the exception of the macronutrients. The bark dust, they don't really have a lot of micronutrients in them, but it still gives you that protection.
Yeah, and it looks so nice, and really weed protection or weed prevention too. It's really something in suppression.
That's a good point. And what we've done here, we've cleaned up all the beds. We put down a pre-emergent so that those weed seeds that we haven't, are still in the soil and we couldn't get out, are still in there. And as soon as we get a little bit more rain, those guys are going to want to start germinating. And so we put down the pre-emergent to keep that from happening and give us some protection from the weeds for the coming months.
Yeah, and so you guys do come out. I mean, we can hire you to come out to my house and blow everything. I don't have to be shoveling it, which is a really nice service.
Yeah, it's great, especially for old guys with bad backs like myself. Yeah, we have the U-Haul Center here in Tualatin where people can come up and pick up their pickup load of their own mulch or their own bark dust. Or we can deliver it in bulk, dump it in your driveway, and you do all the work. Or we can get the blower trucks out and you don't have to do anything but sit back and watch them work.
Well, it's nice to have it all done. I mean, we're all busy people now, so it's really nice to call, make an appointment with your company and have them come out.
Yeah, it's a great service. It's a great way to go.
Jeff, speaking of the weather change, you have another product that a lot of people can use.
Yeah, we also have firewood. We got some nice, well-seasoned fir and mixed wood that's a mix of maple, alder, and fir. And it's well-seasoned, ready to go, stored under cover. And we have lots and lots of that's ready to go, along with our home heating oils for people with that need the home heating oils.
You know, you can go to gardentime.tv, we'll click you over to Grimm's website and you can call them up and get all the information. Jeff, thanks so much. It's really been interesting.
Thanks for coming out. And thanks for bringing the nice weather with you too.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We want to thank you for watching Garden Time today. And you know, Ryan, it is getting chilly.
Here you go, Judy. Why don't you work that a little bit.
Thank you.
You know, and as the temperatures are starting to drop, make sure you look at your low temperatures and protect your plants.
And if you have any questions about today's show or any past shows, please go to gardentime.tv. Ryan and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week here on Garden Time.
Judy, what are you doing?
You said to follow you.
Follow us on Facebook.
Oh, man. Well, we invite all of our viewers to follow the Garden Time page on Facebook.
And on our Facebook page, you'll find links to stories, you'll see upcoming events, and you also might even find a funny joke or two.
So don't forget, go to the gardentime.tv webpage and click the link for Facebook.
They're here. Grab yourself a Garden Time face mask and breathe easy. These masks are one size fit all with elastic straps that hold them securely in place. The nose piece can be shaped to your nose so there's less chance of foggy glasses. Plus, they're embroidered with the Garden Time logo. They come in black, charcoal gray, and navy blue. Simply go to gardentime.tv and click on the store. Get your face mask and be safe in the garden. The preceding was a paid program of the Gustin Creative Group and its sponsors.